Do you find yourself overwhelmed by the thought of making a career transition? I've been there and I understand the challenges you face. That's why I created the Career Compass, the ultimate guide for high achieving corporate women to make career transitions with ease. The Career Compass breaks down the decision making process into 5 clear steps, helping you make savvy, empowered career decisions. Head over to KarenFreeland.com/career compass right now and download this invaluable resource. It's completely free and will get you on the path to a more fulfilling career. Go to KarenFreeland.com/career compass now. Welcome to Rock Your Reinvention, where I help high achieving career women like you get unstuck, make your corporate exit strategy, and successfully transition to your next chapter. Hi, I'm your host, Karen Freeland, a certified life coach and corporate exit strategist. Whether you want to start a business, become a speaker, or something else, I'm here to give you the tools and strategies to shift your mindset, build your confidence, and take bold actions so you can rock your reinvention. Ready? Let's go. Welcome back to the next episode of Rock Your Reinvention. Today, we're going to be discussing the potential downsides of reinvention. Maybe a better way to think of this is some things to watch out for when you're going through a transformation. Whether it's a career transformation or a complete life overhaul, there are definitely going to be some things that pop up and could throw you off. Might really throw a wrench in your plans if you're not prepared for it. Now, that said, let me preface this episode by saying, in no way, shape, or form do I want this to deter you from a reinvention. It's way too important. I know what's on the other side of your reinvention: happiness, joy, purpose, fulfillment, personal growth, exhilaration. I could go on and on. There are so many benefits to reinventing different aspects of your life. Rather, I want you to be aware of some of the things that I've experienced, that my clients have experienced, so that you don't quit, give up, become discouraged or frustrated. All viable feelings and understandable feelings, but I want you to persevere. So we need to have some real talk today about reinvention, something that I have immersed myself in for the last 4 years. So if you're ready, let's dive in. I got 4 things that I really want to unpack for you today. The first one is that when one pain is eliminated, another pain may appear. What does this mean? Well, if your career is your biggest pain point right now, and then you resolve that issue by making a pivot, starting a business, doing something different, changing companies, whatever it is, now suddenly that pain point is gone. And guess what? This new little thorn in your side starts requiring some attention. Maybe you realize, oh, my marriage is on the rocks. The things aren't going so well. This relationship could be better. Well, this is happening because all that energy that you spent worrying about work has now been reduced. It didn't need to be expended there. And you finally have the capacity to notice how damaged your relationship is. In a way, this is actually a good thing. One of my clients not too long ago was laid off. And she decided that, you know what, I'm just going to take some time off to explore other avenues. I don't want to just jump into the next thing that comes my way. And immediately she saw that her stress level was massively reduced. Like, she sort of described it as going off a cliff. My stress was here, and then boom, I'm making a hand motion like you can see this, right? But it just dove way down. And this was something that she brought up in our coaching sessions time and time again as a source of pain. So this was a big relief for her. However, without work consuming all of her time now, she very quickly realized that she had no life outside of work. No hobbies, nothing else to bring her joy. Many of her friendships were just superficial. You know, a lot of the people that she hung out with work suddenly weren't calling or hanging out with her anymore. And she very quickly started to experience the pain of not having a full life. That is one of the reasons, side note, that I have dedicated an entire chapter in Grab Life by the Dreams to rekindling your passions, because we do need hobbies. We need things outside of work that bring us joy. So this is just one example of when you alleviate or reinvent one area of your life, the spotlight might shift to another problem spot and create a temporary discomfort. But pay attention here, because yes, this will be uncomfortable, but the more of these pain points that you discover in your life, the more of them you get to address. And then eventually you will have built this really fulfilling and rich life for yourself because you eradicated all the pain points. So really, this is a good problem to have in the long run. I just want you to be aware of it, because many of my clients, when they don't realize that they're going to experience it, it starts to throw them for a loop. They're like, wait a second, I thought I was going to solve this one problem and everything was going to be cured. But that's not always the case. You might right now, even as you're listening to this and reflecting, you may be able to foresee or predict what these areas could be for yourself. So take a moment to jot those down. Capture them in your journal so that you can be aware of them and prepared for them. And if something else pops up along the way, that's okay too. Don't beat yourself up that you weren't aware of it, because we can't foresee everything that's going to happen during a reinvention, which I'm sure will become clear as we start to unpack these next three. So the second thing I want you to be aware of that can feel like a downside to reinventing is that not everyone is coming with you. Yeah, I know, it's painful. It is really important to know that not everyone is going to be on board with your transformation. Shocking, I know. Not everyone is ready to see you living your best life. Why? It's not you. It really isn't. It's not because they don't love you. It's actually their own insecurity with how they are living their life. It's their jealousy, their envy, insert whatever word is appropriate, and their fear that they aren't living their authentic life that prevents them from fully celebrating you living yours. Okay, I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. It is their own jealousy, envy that they aren't living their authentic life that is preventing them from fully appreciating and celebrating you living your authentic life. In some cases, your friend or your family member isn't willing to give up their victim status, right? They enjoy having something to complain about. Others may dote on them, or this is how they get the attention that they're starved for. And they're like, I'm not coming with you. I like this, even though they may complain about it on the outside, right? But on the inside, they have this neediness for it. And I'm not saying that this isn't hurtful when other people don't show up and support your transformation the way you want them to. It is, and it can be incredibly hard to face. I remember when I launched Grab Life by the Dreams, I sent a text message to a bunch of my high school friends. You know, we have one of those text chats, and so whenever something happens, we just can message all our friends at once. And I let everybody know, like, I'm so excited. The book finally launched. Like, check it out. Here's the link to Amazon. And I was waiting for like the applause and the massive texts coming back. Like, Karen, that's so cool. Congratulations. Yeah, that didn't happen. One of my friends responded and she's like, that's awesome. Congrats. I totally will buy a copy. One person. One. Not even like, wow, that must have been a huge undertaking. Way to go. You wrote your second book. Sounds cool. Nope, nothing. It was Cricketville. And so that in the moment was so hard. I'm like, why aren't they happy for me? Why is no one else celebrating with me the way that I expected them to celebrate with me? And so the way that I navigated this, right, was just loving people through it and giving them grace and reflecting on my own, I don't know, what's the word? The way I have been a friend to other people. I don't know, there's a word I'm looking for there. It's not coming to my mind right now, but I was able to turn the spotlight back on myself and go, I bet there are times when they were going through something really tough and I didn't show up for them the way that they expected me to. I bet I didn't love on them the way they wanted to be loved on. And so I can forgive them and we can move on. And I don't even have to bring it up or mention it to them. Right. And so I really want to invite you to detach from other people's reactions as you're reinventing, to avoid setting expectations on how you want them to react or how you want them to support you. Because the truth is, we don't own other people's reactions. We cannot control other people's behaviors. And I just did a video on this in my Facebook group, Successful Working Women Rocking Reinvention. So if you want the link to join or to go watch that video inside the Facebook group, just send me a message. You can DM me on any of my social channels or email me, Karen@KarenFreeland.com, and I'll share it with you. But essentially, we set ourselves up for disappointment when we expect people to act in a certain way. And so it's really important as you're reinventing that you remember that. You will also need to remember that we all have different values and goals in life. Okay, we don't all think the same way, and that's in many cases a very good thing. But it's only natural that everyone is going to move in different directions sometimes. Okay, like you're going down the path and you're going through your reinvention, and then your friends are going to get to a point, or your family members or your coworkers or other people who you surround yourself with, where they might go, yeah, that's not for me. And they're going to divert and go into a different direction. And that can be hard sometimes. So let's say you decide to get your health in order, right? Maybe you work with a dietitian, you hire a personal trainer, and the next thing you know, you are looking and feeling the best you have felt in years. You have just completely reinvented your health. But your friends, who aren't used to you getting all of this attention when you go out, or your coworkers who, kind of always saw you as the frumpy girl in the corner or whatever, they're starting to cut you out of their lunch dates. They're not including you in certain meetings. And that's obviously going to be incredibly hurtful. It's also going to show the true level of your friendship with those people. And in the long run, this is actually going to be better for you because you deserve, in this example, to be loved and respected regardless of your size or shape. You deserve to be loved and respected regardless of your career, what you choose, your faith, your fun and recreation, right? Any of the areas of your life that you might be reinventing, whatever you ultimately choose, true friends are going to love you through it, right? They're going to come on this journey with you. And some others, they're going to fall off, and that's okay. One of the best pieces of advice that one of my career coaches ever gave me was to focus on the ones who do show up, serve them, show up for them in return, right? And I'm thinking of this from a business perspective, right? When I would go on Facebook and I would do a live, I'd always be amazed at which of my friends would actually show up and support that activity or give me a like or leave an encouraging comment. And those are the ones that I'm showing up for, not the ones who are ignoring me or aren't paying attention to any of my stuff. Okay? Show up for those that show up for you. And you will also be surprised by some of the people who do support your transformation. You'll be like, oh, dang girl, I didn't know that you would support me in that way. I had so many people turn up to my book launch that I had no idea that they would be interested in being there for me. And that meant so much to me. So focus on those people who are coming along for the ride. And what you can do right now is to start reflecting. Who do you anticipate may not support this transition? Why do you think that they wouldn't be supportive of that? How will you handle it? How can you love them through it or show them grace? If you can make a plan for that now, you're going to be less likely to let their lack of support derail you later. So it's worth some upfront planning for sure. Okay, so we know not everybody is coming with us. Well, guess what? You will also need to leave some behind. So this is the third thing you need to be aware of when you are making a reinvention. While in some cases, yes, the people in your life may self-select out, others will need to be actively left behind in your doing. This will be of your doing, okay? And I know this can be really hard and actually pretty gut-wrenching at times. I've seen the struggle firsthand. I've experienced it myself, but it will be, again, ultimately worth it. When friends or family or coworkers, acquaintances are clearly not supporting your transformation, you may need to start cutting ties, or at the very least, just begin distancing yourself from those people. I want to share an example from one of my clients. So she decided that she no longer wanted to drink alcohol. Like me and many of the women that I work with, she had been self-medicating for years to cope with the stress of her job. But what she actually found is that the alcohol was making her more stressed and giving her more anxiety. So she, upon self-reflection, made the decision to stop drinking alcohol. And she switched over to non-alcoholic beverages, right? So when she went to parties or things, she could still feel social and feel like she was participating, but wasn't drinking. Well, unfortunately, several people in her circle were making a lot of negative comments about it. They told her it was fine. Just have a few drinks. It doesn't matter. It's the weekend. It's no big deal. And really what they were doing was normalizing their own behavior because they felt like her not drinking was an indictment on them drinking. Okay? So again, it's this idea of the spotlight shifting on them. And they're like, well, if she's not drinking, she must think I'm an alcoholic, or she must think I'm a bad person for drinking. So I need to get her to drink again so that I don't have those feelings and emotions myself. And instead of supporting her and honoring her beliefs and desires, they were making it harder for her to follow through on her transformation. So she had to make a decision whether she was going to keep hanging out with them or start distancing herself so that she could transform into the woman that she wanted to be. And spoiler alert, they didn't make the cut, right? And you're going to have to make some tough decisions like this. It's just part for the course. It's part of the process. It's only natural that as you evolve and as you change for the better, you're going to let go of some people. So I want you to take a moment to reflect right now too. Who do you think you're going to need to start putting some distance between? And how will you tactfully handle this when the time comes? I also see this a lot of times in women who want to leave corporate and become entrepreneurs. You know, all the other women who stay behind in corporate that are in their circle are like, but what if it fails? What if you're not successful? What if this? What if that? How are you going to afford health insurance? I don't know, the same way that thousands of others, millions of others of entrepreneurs afford it. I mean, you're going to build a successful business, but they are just saying these negative things because they're embarrassed that they're not able to grab their life by the dreams and go follow their heart the way that you are. Again, we can't take these things personally. We really need to understand that this is all coming from their own self-preservation. They're in self-preservation mode when they see you reinventing, okay? And that's just natural. And again, we can love them through it. Or if they're really not going to be supportive, again, we just distance ourselves. The last thing that I want to share with you today, the fourth pitfall, watch out, gotcha of reinvention, is that reinvention can be lonely. Yeah, it's true. You know, sometimes we change so much that we don't even know where we belong. And I'm not saying this again to scare you. I am not saying this to prevent you from reinventing. I just want you to be aware that this could happen so that when it does, you are prepared for it. And this has happened to me in a number of ways in my life, but I would not be authentically who I am if I didn't push through the loneliness and keep going with my reinvention. What am I talking about? Let me give you an example. And I'm going to focus on faith for this one because that has probably been the biggest catalyst for where I am experiencing this loneliness in my life. And of course, I'm not suggesting that you have the same faith as me. I think it just paints a really clear picture, and career isn't the only thing that we reinvent around here. So sometimes it's nice to have examples from other walks of life and other areas that we want to reinvent. So I always say to people, I'm stuck somewhere in the middle. I'm in between this old pop culture life that I used to live, where my job was my number one priority. I immersed myself in news. I listened to the pop music. I watched all the latest TV shows as a way to just decompress. And this new life that I'm trying to create that is steeped in my faith. I'm not cut out for that pop culture life anymore, but I don't feel as saintly and holy as a lot of the people in the Christian community that I'm part of, right? And I'm in that very, very lonely middle because my friends who don't share my faith or who maybe don't practice it as much as I practice it, they don't understand the things that I grapple with on a day-to-day basis. And the ones who've made more progress than me that I'm sort of looking up to, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to share things that I'm struggling with because I feel like I'm way behind them. And so I'm somewhere in the middle while going through this reinvention and growing in my faith journey. Let me take this another level down to paint the picture. I don't watch TV. And a lot of people think, oh, well, maybe she just doesn't have TV because she doesn't work in corporate anymore. So she's saving money or it's a time suck or whatever. Yes, to all of those things. But really, the reason that I don't watch TV is because it doesn't align with my values. I cannot disconnect and watch a TV show that depicts a man strangling a woman and murdering her and say, yep, that's entertainment, and then also have these Christian beliefs. They can't coexist for me. And so that is why I don't bring it into my home anymore. Again, you don't have to believe what I believe. I just want to paint this picture for you, okay? So if you watch TV, there's nothing wrong with you. I'm not saying you're a bad person, okay? I just can't do it anymore. And so every time I go out, everybody wants to talk about the latest TV show, this show. Karen, you got to watch this. Oh, it would be so funny. You would love it. I know you would enjoy it. And I'm just sitting there smiling and nodding like, I'll check it out. I'm never going to check it out. I'm not going to watch TV. Music, same thing. I cannot listen to these songs that call me swear words or say they're going to beat it up or whatever. I love hip hop. I loved that kind of music, these great beats, something uplifting. I mean, in terms of like the beat, but I can't listen to those words. I can't bring that into my car. I refuse to let my kids listen to this stuff. So I only listen to Christian music. So when I go out places and people want to listen to that music, I'm like, I can't believe we're listening to this in front of kids. And I really struggle with what we are exposing other people to. I went to the gas station the other day and the song was so inappropriate. And I was like, I'm leaving. I'm not even going to buy something from this gas station. I literally drove across the street and I bought something at a different gas station that was not playing such inappropriate music. This is the example that I want to paint when you're reinventing things that used to be mainstream in your life. You may just feel like I cannot participate in this. News is another one for me. I just can't bring that political circus into my home. I'm not going to stress myself out in that way. So we don't watch it anymore. But you bet you go out, you scroll through Instagram, you do anywhere, and all people want to talk about is the election or whatever bad news is happening in the world that day. Again, I really want to stress you don't have to agree with any of my statements or logic. I just want you to see how these little everyday things that make up the fabric of our life suddenly become this source of alienation, right? Feeling like you don't belong. But here's the catch. Here's the little hope, the little silver lining. I've never been happier. I've never been more in tune with who I am, who I want to be, and how I want to live. It's so aligned. And don't get me wrong, I know that it would be far easier on the surface to go back to my old life. There would be nothing easier than just saying, okay, Sundays, forget it. We won't go to church. We'll just hang out. We'll drink our beers. We'll watch our sports. We'll get a Jets game, whatever, and throw all caution to the wind, right? Like that would be the easy thing to do. And I just want to say easy in quotes because I actually would be miserable. My soul would be starved. It just wouldn't work for me anymore. I couldn't take it. But I constantly struggle with, should I just go back? Could I turn a blind eye to this? And I know the answer is no, but you have those moments of potential weakness because of the loneliness that can creep in. So I really want to invite you today to stay the course because when you do, your authentic life is on the other side of that discomfort. So what can you do? As always, try to prepare for it as best you can. Make a game plan for how you are going to handle those moments of loneliness. Will you find a support group? Maybe this podcast is your support group. Maybe it's inside my Facebook group, Successful Working Women, Rocking Reinvention. Maybe it's something else in your community. A lot of the women, when they're first leaving corporate and they're becoming an entrepreneur, I tell them to surround themselves with other entrepreneurs who are doing what you want to do, because that will motivate you to keep going in the times when it gets tough. Find other people who are reinventing and changing the way they're living so that you can get strength from them. Okay, so let's recap real quick the 4 things that could be perceived as a downside when you're reinventing. The first one is that when one pain is eliminated, another pain may appear. But again, that's okay because we are just working through all of our pain points, and eventually you're not going to have any more pain points. The second thing, not everyone is coming with you. Some of your friends are going to be stuck behind of their own self-selection, right? They're going to opt out of your transformation, and that's okay. Number 3, you're going to actively need to leave some people behind because they simply are going to become dead weight. And I mean that with love, okay? They're just not going to be supportive of you. And so it's time to cut ties. Lastly, reinvention can be lonely. Be aware of it, prepare for it, and surround yourself with people who can support you and love you through that change. Okay, I just felt like I would be remiss if I only show up and talk about the good things from reinvention every week and I don't share some of the potential hazards. But here's the thing, now that you know what they are, you are prepared to handle them. Everything that goes along with a reinvention, you're ready for. You're not going to fall victim to it. You're not going to veer off course. And then you'll be able to finally experience the dream life you've been longing for. Thanks for being here today, and I hope that this was helpful for you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you're inspired to take action by committing to one of the tips or strategies we talked about in today's episode. If you want more accountability and support, I've got your back. Book a complimentary Empowered Exit Strategy call today. Visit KarenFreeland.com to learn more and book your 45-minute session. Until next time, stay fabulous.